Yes. Now go ahead.
Hare Krishna. I'm sorry for the
Hare-
interruption. So the
no, it's
story
okay.
is The Truths of Life. There was once a great king named Suyajna who ruled the Ushinara province. Once, while fighting in battle, unfortunately, the courageous king died at the hands of his enemies. At the time of sunset, King Suyajna's queens ran to the battlefield and saw the dead body of their beloved husband. They cried piteously for him. They said, "O Lord, now that you are killed, we are also as good as dead. Cruel destiny has taken you away from our sight. You are a great husband and our most sincere friend. We cannot exist without you. We will also die now and follow you to serve you wherever you go." Thus they fell at his feet with tears pounding their chests. The queens kept crying and wouldn't allow anyone to take the body for cremation. Soon their cries reached the abode of Yama, the Lord of Death, who punishes sinful people in hell. To advise the queens of Suyajna, Lord Yama personally appeared before them in the form of a boy. The boy then spoke to the queens. "Alas, it is amazing that these people, older than me, who have seen hundreds of births and deaths, are still confused. For anyone who is born, death is unavoidable. The soul is different from the body, which differs from species to species and appears and disappears by karma. The soul identifies with the body only due to ignorance. Still, the relatives of a dead person cannot understand this. Those who are really wise know that the soul is eternal and the body is temporary. Hence, do not lament. Although Yama himself was educating them in the form of the boy, the queens didn't stop their lamentation. So Yama narrated a story. Once there lived a hunter who would kill the birds in the forest. One day he saw a pair of Kulinga birds and captured the female bird in his net. Seeing his wife in danger and being unable to release her, the male bird cried, "Destiny is merciless. What is the use of my life after my wife's death? Let me also die. The baby birds are helpless. How shall I maintain these fledglings who haven't developed wings?" As the male bird was thus crying, the hunter shot him down with his arrow. Lord Yama concluded, "Dear queens, even if you lament for hundreds of years, your husband will not come back to life. In the meantime, your lives will be finished. So better stop wasting your time crying and instead focus on devotion to Lord Vishnu." Everyone was struck with wonder at the words of the boy. Yama then disappeared, and Suyajna's relatives were able to conduct the funeral ceremony. Emotions are common when we lose our dear ones, but then but that shouldn't make one dysfunctional. Both King Chitraketu and the wives of King Suyajna were pained when their beloved relatives left their bodies. But wise devotees, namely Narada, Angira, and Yama, explained to them the truth of life. Yes, it's very painful when one's dear friends or relatives die, and one naturally feels for them. But one shouldn't become demotivated or dysfunctional at that time. Instead, one must try to accept the truth and move on with one's responsibilities. Hare Krishna. Nature is under God's control. मया अध्यक्षणे प्रकृतिः सूयते सचराचरम् हेतुनानेन कौन्तेय जगद्विपरिवर्तते. Bhagavad Gita, Shloka 9.10. Can stones float on water? Can a child lift a mountain? No way, right? Nature and its various elements have certain properties that are unchangeable. However, only the person who gave them those properties can change them if he so desires. Krishna says in this shloka, "This material nature is working under my direction and is producing all moving and stationary beings. All changes that the material nature undergoes or causes are due to me." Thus, the material elements like earth, water, air, fire, and sky all work under the direction of the Lord, who can give them their characteristics and change them if needed. Here are two beautiful tales of the Lord for you to understand this better. The floating stones. Hearing that Sita Devi was in Lanka, Lord Rama wanted to rescue her immediately. Lord Ram took the huge army of monkeys and went to the shore of the ocean that stood between Lanka and them. It was a big task for the millions of monkeys to cross the ocean. Lord Rama wondered how the crossover would be possible and appealed to the ocean god Samudra. After a long time, the ocean god finally rose from the ocean. He seemed like the bright sun at dawn. He wore a red dress with a garland of red flowers, and his eyes appeared like lotuses. He wore a flower crown and a prominent jewel around his neck. He was surrounded by many river goddesses. He folded his hands and spoke humbly, "My dear Lord Rama, every element has its natural state. Therefore, it won't be possible for me to change the state of this ocean. Still, I can tell you the means by which you can cross me along with your army. You can construct a bridge over me, which I will sustain against my nature. I can assure you that the fierce creatures in the ocean wouldn't disturb your army. O Rama, although you can easily cross the ocean without even making a bridge, still I request you to construct the bridge so that future generations can know and witness your greatness through the superhuman activity of making stones float on water." Thus assured by the ocean god, Lord Rama was pleased. The monkeys then jumped joyfully and began their work. Soon there were thousands of trees and massive heaps of rocks piled on the beach. One of the monkeys, named Nala, was a good architect. Nala told the monkeys to throw the rocks and trees into the sea, and they threw huge rocks that created huge splashes of water. However, instead of sinking, the rocks magically started floating on water. Binding together trees and rocks with creepers, the monkeys built a huge bridge towards Lanka. Finally, in 5 days, the monkeys constructed an enormous bridge that stretched several miles up to the shores of Lanka. Lord Ram and Lakshmana mounted the backs of Hanuman and Angada and reached the shores of Lanka with the help of the amazing bridge. In this way, by the power of Lord Rama, even the heavy, sinkable stones began to float on water. This superhuman deed of Lord Rama has been praised ever since. The Lord performed superhuman acts to please his devotees. Big hill on a small finger. Once Indra, the king of heaven and the lord of rains, became proud of his power and position. Taking note of this unnecessary pride, Lord Krishna decided to stop the traditional worship of Indra in Vrindavan. Instead, he initiated the worship of Govardhan Hill. The cowherd community in Vrindavan celebrated this new Govardhan Puja in Vrindavan with great joy. But Indra became furious and caused a devastating downpour in Vrindavan. Forgetting that his position was only due to Krishna's mercy, he arrogantly criticized Krishna and decided to destroy the supposed pride of the people of Vrindavan. Indra then sent the dense Samvartaka clouds, accompanied by 7 types of fierce winds that can destroy the entire world. There were many colorful clouds, black, yellow, green, red, camphor, blue lotus, moving in the sky like huge elephants moving side by side. With wild lightning, thunder, and winds, the Samavartaka clouds poured rain continuously in Vrindavan like piercing arrows as thick as pillars, along with big and heavy pieces of ice. The torrential rain falling from the sky appeared like the long hanging branches of a banyan tree. All the lands were soon filled with water. The cows were severely tormented by cold and tried to shelter their calves under their bodies. The disturbed cowherd community approached the palace of King Nanda to seek Lord Krishna's shelter. It is Krishna's solemn vow to protect his devotees who exclusively take his shelter in all circumstances. Krishna decided to counteract the situation by displaying his omnipotence. By his divine power, the rain temporarily ceased to fall over the path that extended from King Nanda's house to the Govardhan hill. Krishna ran swiftly from the porch of his house to the Govardhan hill without a single raindrop falling on him. Just as a child picks up a mushroom or an elephant lifts a clump of grass, Krishna effortlessly picked up the Govardhan hill, which was touching the clouds. Thus, Krishna became Giridhari, the lifter of the hill. The hill rose as if it had wings. All the devtas except Indra became joyful and began praising this feat. Flowers fell from the trees on Govardhan, representing his laughter since he was being touched by Krishna's hand. Giriraja seemed to celebrate the destruction of Indra's fame. King Nanda, Mother Yashoda, and Rohini, the Gopas and Gopis, including thousands of cows, calves, bulls, buffaloes, and the entire cowherd community, gathered under Govardhan. Ordinarily, all of them would not have fit under the base of a medium sized hill like Govardhan. However, through the power of Krishna's touch, Govardhan expanded to 32 miles so that all of them could be sheltered comfortably under him. A chunk of earth fell and formed a natural boundary wall around the perimeter of Govardhan and prevented the water from entering its periphery. Sheshnag had coiled himself around Govardhan to stop the water from flowing under the hill. Sudarshan Chakra, as brilliant as 10 million suns, hovered above the hill and drank up the falling streams of water. Thus, not a blade of grass moved in Vrindavan due to Indra's fierce rain. After 7 days, when the efforts of Indra became futile, the sky became clear and the sun began to shine. While these 7 days were like 7 yugas of intense pain for Indra, they were like 7 joy-filled hours for the residents of Vrindavan. Krishna then placed Govardhan back on the ground where he had stood earlier. Whether the Lord protects or punishes, all his activities are merciful and enchanting. Since the Lord controls nature, he alone can make stones float and can lift a big hill on his little finger. He even chastises devas if they go astray due to pride or greed. Krishna is the storehouse of all superpowers, and he makes use of his powers to protect his devotees and make them happy. So let's make sure we pray to him, serve him, and most importantly, befriend him. We have completed reading from the Gita Wisdom Tales Gnana, the knowledge. So we'll start with the next book, which is Bhakti Devotion, the best gift for God. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9.26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhakta prayashchati tadam bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatat manaha. How can you please God? It's actually very simple. All we need is love. In the shloka, Lord Krishna says, I happily accept a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or even a little water if it is offered to me with love and devotion. In reality, whatever we have is God's gift to us. Despite this, whatever little gift we offer Him lovingly and selflessly, He gladly welcomes. Even a poor person can please Krishna with these simple offerings if there is love, the main ingredient of our worship. Beautiful, isn't it? The following stories will show exactly what I mean. Jewels for fruits. One day, a poor woman came to the village of Vrindavan to sell fresh fruits. She announced, I have some juicy fruits. Anyone who wants them can come to me. While walking with a basket full of fruits, she came to King Nanda's beautiful palace. Little Krishna, the darling child of Mother Yashoda and King Nanda, heard the fruit seller's announcement. He also wanted some fruits. In those days, exchanging some food grains for a commodity was a common practice. Young yet intelligent Krishna had seen his elders doing this before. So now he grabbed in his little hand some grains from home. He then eagerly ran to the fruit seller to get some juicy fruits. But by the time he reached her, most of the grains had slipped off his tiny hands. The fruit seller was captivated by the charming face of Krishna. She didn't care for the grains. She lovingly filled Krishna's hands with as many fruits as he could hold. She didn't even know that the little boy standing in front of her was God. All she wanted was to see him smiling happily. Pleased by her selfless offering of fruits and pure love, Lord Krishna showered his blessings. A miracle followed. The fruit seller's basket suddenly started filling with precious jewels and fine gold. For her selfless love, the poor woman was enormously rewarded by Krishna. Yet, it was the smile of Krishna that pleased her heart more than the jewels she received. Selfless service attracts God's unlimited blessings. The Banana Peel Feast. Once, Lord Krishna visited Hastinapur. Duryodhan, the wicked son of King Dhritarashtra, welcomed Krishna with folded arms and said, "We are honored, O Govinda. Please accept my invitation to dine with us. Please stay in the palace of my brother Dushasana. His home is superior even to my own." Duryodhan was the wealthy prince of Hastinapur, and surely he would offer a fantastic feast for Krishna. But his heart had no love for Krishna. In fact, he hated him, for he would always support the virtuous Pandavas, whom Duryodhan had envied since his childhood. Knowing Duryodhana's mentality, Krishna replied, "O prince, I will not eat with you, nor shall I stay in Dushasana's palace." Duryodhan was angry with him, but smiled externally and asked, "Why do you refuse our invitation, Krishna? Are we not as dear to you as the Pandavas?" Lord Krishna replied, "One should partake of the food offered by someone only if there is love between them, or if one is distressed due to hunger. I know you have no love for me, nor am I hungry for your food. For no reason you envy the noble Pandavas. Whoever hates virtuous people hates me as well. The food you offer me is infected by your wickedness. Therefore, I have decided to stay with Vidura." Vidura was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. He was the paternal uncle of both the Pandavas and the Kauravas. He had protected the Pandavas earlier in many ways. Knowing that he had a pure heart, Krishna wished to stay and eat at his home instead of Duryodhana's or Dushasana's. Krishna was very fond of Vidura for his truthfulness, wisdom, simplicity, and devotion. Vidura was overjoyed to receive Krishna. He offered Krishna all the comfort and resources he could, which was not as lavish as Duryodhana's. Vidura gave a seat to Krishna and he sat on the floor. Gazing at Krishna's sweet face with love, Vidura offered him a banana. Lost in the Lord's mesmerizing beauty, Vidura peeled the banana and gave him the peel. Krishna wasn't surprised or disturbed. There was no change in his expression. He too was absorbed in showering his loving glances on Vidura. Krishna happily ate that banana peel. A few moments later, Vidura realized that he had offered the peel to Krishna instead of the fruit. But Krishna was pleased and full of joy because he wasn't hungry for Vidura's bananas but was eager to receive his love. Even simple offerings win God's heart if there is love. But even gorgeous offerings do not impress him if love is absent. Wonderful episodes, weren't they? The fruit seller offered Krishna tasty fruits, whereas Vidura offered him banana peels. Although both the offerings were different, their selfless love won Krishna's heart. Similarly, whatever we have, be it samosas, rasgullas, khichdi, or karela sabzi, if we lovingly offer them to Krishna, he will gleefully accept them. He will also leave behind some prasadam for us. The four types of worshippers. Bhagavad Gita 7.16. Chaturveda bhajante mam jana sukritinarjuna artho jignasur artharthi gnani cha bharata rishabha. Have you have you ever prayed to Krishna to secure good grades in your exams or to recover from your illness faster? It's natural. Different devotees approach the Lord with different requests. Not all can worship Him selflessly, as in the previous shloka. So, in this shloka, Lord Krishna reveals that the four kinds of people who worship Him are the distressed, Artha, the curious, Jignasu, the seekers, Artharthi, and those seeking knowledge, Gnani, of Him. Do you fit into one of these categories? Or do you worship Krishna without expectations? Of course, the best way is to worship Him selflessly, but there is no harm in praying to Him to fulfill certain wishes. Whatever may be our purpose of worshipping, if we seek Krishna's refuge, He will take care of us. Let us see how. An elephant's prayers. Once in a dense forest, there lived a big elephant named Gajendra, who was also the king of that forest. One day, in great sportive spirit, he entered a lake in the beautiful Trikuta mountain region along with his companions. He was happily enjoying in its fresh waters with his wives and children, and in a playful exchange, sprinkled water over them with his trunk. In the midst of this comfort and happiness, Gajendra suddenly encountered an unexpected tragedy. An angry crocodile grabbed his leg. Gajendra was mighty and strong. He tried his best to free himself, but couldn't. After all, he was used to living on land, whereas the crocodile was used to living in the water. The other elephants also tried, but couldn't rescue him either. Seeing his helpless state, his wives and children cried. Gajendra and the crocodile fought hard, pulling each other in and out of the water. The fight lasted for 1,000 years. Seeing this unusual fight, even the devas in the heavens were surprised. Gradually, Gajendra's mental and physical strength depleted because of being in a foreign environment, water. On the other hand, the crocodile's strength increased because he was a water animal. Weakened, Gajendra began to look for refuge. By God's grace, Gajendra remembered a prayer that he had learnt in his past life. He prayed, O Lord, you are the Supreme Father. You are merciful. You appear in many incarnations. You stay within everyone's heart. I am caught up in the jaws of this crocodile. Please save me. What happened next is truly marvelous. Lord Vishnu quickly responded to Gajendra's heartfelt prayer. He hastily arrived there on the back of his bird carrier Garuda. Gajendra saw the Lord arriving in the sky. Even as he was reeling in acute pain due to the attack of the crocodile, Gajendra picked up a lotus with his trunk and offered it to the Lord with devotion. Lord Vishnu then sliced the crocodile's head with his Sudarshan Chakra, the disc weapon, and pulled Gajendra out of the lake with his loving hand. By the divine touch of Lord Vishnu, Gajendra attained a four-handed form similar to the Lord. Thereafter, Gajendra went to Vaikuntha to stay with the Lord forever. The Lord pulls us out from the ocean of troubles by our heartfelt prayers. Dhruva's ambitious desire. Dhruva was a 5-year-old prince. Once his envious stepmother didn't allow him to sit on his father's lap and throne. Dhruva became disappointed and angry. He developed an ambitious desire to attain a position superior not only to his father but his great grandfather Brahma too. To fulfill his ambition, little Dhruva immediately left for the forest to worship Lord Vishnu all by himself. On his way, he saw the great sage Narad Muni, a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Narad told Dhruva, You are just a kid. You should be playing. The process of worshipping Lord Vishnu is very difficult. You may attempt it when you grow up. Ambitious, ambitious Dhruva replied, No, I wish to worship Lord Vishnu now itself. I am pained by the words of my stepmother Suruchi. I was not allowed to sit on my father's throne or lap. Now I desire the greatest position in the three worlds, which has not been attained even by Brahma. Please advise an honest path to achieve my goal. Impressed with the honesty and determination of the 5-year-old, Narad Muni accepted Dhruva as his disciple. Narad Muni then instructed Dhruva, go to the forest named Madhuvan on the banks of river Yamuna. Worship the Lord there and chant the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dhruva followed the advice. At Madhuvan, little Dhruva worshipped and meditated on the Lord with full concentration for 6 months. For the first month, he sustained just by eating some berries once in 3 days. During the second month, he ate only dry grass and leaves once in 6 days. In the third month, he sustained just on little water, drinking once every 9 days. In the fourth month, he sustained solely on air by breathing once every 12 days. By the fifth month, Dhruva controlled his breath and mind, stood motionless on one foot, and meditated on Lord Vishnu's form without a moment's break. Pleased by the little boy's determination, Lord Vishnu left for Madhuvan on his bird carrier Garuda to personally bless his young devotee. Upon seeing the Lord, Dhruv fell at his feet overjoyed and offered prayers. Lord Vishnu then told Dhruva, My dear boy, I am pleased with your worship and meditation. You will rule your father's kingdom for 36,000 years. After that, you will attain my planet known as Dhruvaloka. Saying this, the Lord departed. Dhruva's heart was filled with happiness on seeing the Lord, but he also felt ashamed of vengeful thoughts that he had felt earlier towards his stepmother Suruchi and stepbrother Uttama. He even felt guilty that he wished a position superior to Brahma. Silently, he left Madhuvan for his father's palace. King Uttanapad received the news of Dhruva's arrival. After Dhruva's departure from the palace, Uttanapad and Suruchi were completely transformed. Along with his mother Suniti, they eagerly came out of the city to receive Dhruva. Dhruva bowed to his elders and happily entered the kingdom. After growing up, Uttanapad made him the king. Dhruva ruled the kingdom for 36,000 years and then went to Dhruvaloka in a brilliant airplane. When determination accompanies a trust on God, success is assured. Gajendra remembered the Lord when he was in distress. Dhruva prayed to the Lord when he desired a material position. Lord Vishnu answered both their prayers. Well, whatever the reason may be, if we sincerely pray to the Lord with a heart full of love, he will surely respond with affection. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We
Very
will conclude
nicely
for the
explained.
day today and continue at the next opportunity.
Yes, very beautiful stories. Very nice. Only thing is, oh, please stop recording. Rupati